motel looking effect.
That's
My only concern. And I haven't seen this key access. I mean, if you go, what is that complex over Lee Summit, Amway or something like that? I mean, and I don't notice, I haven't seen, and I guess that's where I'm struggling without a visualization. I have difficulty picturing how you're going to do this and make it attractive.
Well, there's a complex on R.D. you know, where Brookwood Village is, the townhomes over there. You can come and see the townhomes right on the other side. I think it's called Sunnybrook, something or other. But they're what they're called are mansion-style apartment complexes. So you have one main entry door and interior hallways. And as it stands, a lot of these one main entry doors have remained unlocked. Whereas you go inside of the hallway.
So are you going to have a corridor and you're going to have an entry door on each end of the corridor for fire, for?
There would be things to code, but but it's just concern that anybody could get into the major door and then have easy access to the interior apartments.
Visibility aspect, from the outside, it won't look like a hotel, motel look.
Yeah, it's called mansion style. I wish I had.
Just as long as you're comfortable that this is going to look.
Is this something that's commonly being introduced in communities as a safety feature?
I think what we're dealing with is, you know, if you're saying there will be no doors to common areas, that would be different. But if there's any possibility that there's going to be a door going into a common hallway, then I think that needs to be addressed. You know,
I just think that
if that's something that developers look at and they go, well, that's going to increase our cost, we'll do open stairwells as opposed to that. You know, I'm not going to have an issue from that standpoint because we'll have visibility. But when you go into that area where it's a common hallway with the door that closes, then you obstruct that view.
you're talking about like a front door you walk in. That you can just walk in and then you can walk to the person's door and get to their unit. And you know, I had told you every complex that I've ever lived in, you have to have a key to get in. And then you have a different key to get into your unit. I just think that's common safety.
So I've never lived in anything like that.
Yeah, and they're becoming more common.
Well, in your mailboxes, usually there's shared mailboxes out in that hallway, so the problem is somebody could be coming out to get their mail and somebody could be waiting for them if there wasn't.
Mailboxes couldn't be in the hallway, then there'd have to be another location for key access.
Yeah.
No, but if the doors were locked, you could have, if you had a locked entry to get in, you could have mailboxes there.
Well, there's different ways of doing it, but the typical way that the post office seems to be going at this point in time is that they're going to a common mailbox center so that they're not having to walk through or drive through the entire property. So they're going to a community mailbox system. If you look at Chapel Ridge that was just built, they've got them along the main entrance, along the clubhouse. So they have a place for everybody to drop their mail, and then if there were large packages that didn't fit in those boxes or something needs to be delivered, the office is right there. So it's decreasing the work as far as distribution of mail. And that's typically what places are going towards, as opposed to in the individual units.
Garage doors. We've spent a lot of time talking about garage doors.
So everybody's comfortable with four then? Is that what you're saying?
That's.
We talked about garage. Shall be offset by at least 2 feet. I know that Officer Jarvis had recommended that. I went and looked at the Weatherstone duplexes that are over off of Jefferson, and I had staff look at them. Was that about 3 feet, or was that about 2 feet?
I thought it was about 3 feet.
So that I was
didn't
just,
go out and take my-
I don't know if 2 feet's going to be enough, and I know we had a safety issue with that, but the ones at Weatherstone, if anyone gets a chance to look at them, it's a perfect example of what Michael had talked about. It's where you've got a long garage, but it's offset, and the front is like kind of got a half brick facade, but you've got one garage up closer than the other. It's about offset by 3 feet, and it really makes a great difference in it not looking like just a row of garages. And I guess I would probably defer to staff. I don't know if 2 feet's going to be enough. The ones at Weatherstone look like they're about 3 feet, and it really
Well, remember, we're also staggering the buildings,
Mhm.
4 feet. So, I mean, how much, you see what I'm saying?
It's just a question, is
Yeah.
2 feet gonna be sufficient to make a difference? Because we originally had said 4 feet, we cut it to 2 feet. I'm looking at Weatherstone, it was 3 feet.
Maybe 3 feet. I don't know. What do you think, Michael, in terms of construction wise? Is that?
Well, the only thing I'm looking at is with 4 foot and you got 2 foot, I'm just looking at a standard building. We also have a 35-foot setback.
Mhm.
Then you got your back setback that we have to deal with. You know, you only have a certain area to fluctuate that within.
Well,
I think 2 feet is sufficient then.
Okay.
I mean, you're only dealing with a foot, I understand
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I was just.
You're doing it at a minimum of 2 foot.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It does say minimum.
Well, whatever the minimum is, it's, you know.
Yeah.
it's gonna be-
not 2 foot.
Yeah, it's usually the case.
But
right?
Janet had mentioned not wanting it any larger than 2 feet setback.
No, I was just saying that I didn't want, I thought that 4 feet was a long distance.
This for-
Just because of the obstructed view if you were backing. You
Well,
know,
would 3 feet, you think be okay, or do you think that? would
I
be-
think it just, you know, I mean, it's just a safety issue that the owners are gonna have to take into account whichever way you go. You know, even 2 feet, if, you know, it doesn't matter if you're backing out of a garage with nothing, you've gotta be concerned about it. I just felt that 4 feet added a lot of time in there for a
Well,
kid
it's
to
kind of a
back
blind
out.
spot.
Mhm.
Does everyone want to keep it at 2 feet or 3 feet?
No.
Yes.
The way it reads is that's just a minimum standard there.
Right. So we should make a maximum standard rather than a minimum then.
Well, yeah, at least a minimum now for design aesthetics. Should we offset by at least 2 feet and no more than 4 feet?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Okay.
And the materials, we incorporated compatible materials. We have carriage doors, use of architecturally enhanced garage doors. This is where we were giving an incentive that the front facade cannot be more than 50%, but if they incorporated carriage doors, which I would like to have a picture of a carriage door on here,
Okay.
Oh,
just,
I will stick that on there on the final product.
just because, I mean, I'm sure developers know what a carriage door is, but just so they actually know what we're looking for, you know, in design.
Something like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a good picture to put on there.
Okay.
And then they can have the facade 60% if they use the carriage doors, as opposed to 50%. Is everyone all right with that? Okay. And now, we're just gonna start off on some new territory. Vehicular circulation, this is where we left off last meeting. And I'll turn it over to Scott at this point, because this is new territory here.
Well, and I'll turn it over to Paige and Shannon. To explain what we put in here.
Okay. We went off of primarily Overland Park, vehicular circulation stuff, which was very long and very comprehensive. It was very good. We did shorten it a little bit, didn't we? Or we just left it as it.
I think you just left it at this
We
point.
left it as is at this point. But I'll start at the top of the page.
There's a different
Very-
format.
Yeah, I started working on a different format.
I'll show you.
Okay. All right, so site design, housing mix, we had kind of gone through housing mix, right?
Mhm.
We had gone through pedestrian circulation, vehicular circulation, internal drive design should be defined within development by identifiable building clusters or neighborhoods that respond to topography, intended traffic speed, pedestrian usage, safety, and views. And the point of that particular piece is to avoid excessively straight and wide drives in order to have traffic calming
within multifamily units.